Mark, it looks like after reaching the 10% threshold, the pro-Kurdish party, the HDP, they appear to be heading to Parliament. How do you think that's going to change the landscape in Turkish politics? Will it have, how much of an effect will it actually have?
Well, it would certainly introduce some sort of appeasement because the campaign of the AKP and President Erdogan has been heavily focused against the HDP. As you know, the presidential candidate from the Kurdish party is in jail, so there was much resentment. And with the HDP in parliament, that will, in a way, improve the atmospherics. Now, as your channel just said, we have to wait until we have the final results. We don't know yet if the AKP MHP has a majority in parliament. We don't even know for sure if the president is elected in the first round. And we have seen some of the traditional maneuvering in the early hours of the ballot counting, which is that the Anadolu agency, which is not the official counting mechanism, of course, it's a higher election council, but the state news agency produces numbers that are very smartly selected to create the impression of a huge wave in favor of the incumbent president. This is not exactly the case, so we'll have to carefully see what the final numbers in the higher election council are. Until, let's say, midnight or so, it will be premature to comment on one way or the other.
Of course, we still just have partial results in so far, but the way things stand at the moment, this is looking like it could be a huge blow for the opposition, notwithstanding the fact that the pro-Kurdish party could be entering parliament after reaching that 10% threshold.
Yes, indeed. And the most surprising element is that the Nationalist Party allied with the AKP, MHP, seems to have done extremely well, although the party itself was split in two only a few months ago. But there again, we'll have to see the final result. The other interesting phenomenon is that congratulation messages are pouring in from Central Asia, from Pakistan, from Qatar for the president. I'm sure that apart from the message that apparently Viktor Orban has sent from Budapest, we'll have to see what other EU heads of state and government will be saying next Thursday and Friday when the European Council meets here in the building behind me.
And is it too early to say, Mark, whether or not these elections were free and fair? There had been concern about voter intimidation and even electoral fraud. Is it too early to say that at this stage?
I think there is absolutely no doubt that this was an unlevel playing field for several reasons. One is, of course, that the election took place under a state of emergency, which allows governors to move ballot boxes. And of course, they were moved in places where it was more crucial for the AKP that they be moved. People had to drive or walk 15 to 20 kilometers to go voting in mountain districts in the far southeast of Turkey, for example. Secondly, the election law was modified recently, eliminating the second stamp on the envelope, stuffing the ballot stations with officials and not only representatives of political parties. And then, of course, in the counting process, we have seen all the usual tricks, electricity going off, scuffles between people, of course, ballot stuffing in some places. All of this will give rise to contestation in front of the Electoral Council, but that was expected. This is not a free and fair election by any Western standards. This is clear. But we'll see what the result is. If President Erdogan wins and carries a majority in parliament, the image of this election will remain the same. What will matter will be the policies that Tayyip Erdogan will follow with the European Union in particular.
Okay, Mark Pierini, former EU ambassador to Turkey and Syria, thank you so much for joining us.